Hello, YouTubers. It's Barbara D. I am back with part two of Tim Ventura's interview with John Bloomer from Diskcraft. Tim Ventura is from AmericanAntiGravity.com. And after this second half, I will do a video with some possible questions and answers concerning some of the topics that he discusses in this video. And I'm sorry that there aren't any graphics. I'm just getting started doing this, and I hope to get a better video set up pretty soon. But I hope you enjoy this. Thank you.
No big trick. We've been doing things like this now for at least 50 years.
Absolutely. Well, how far along are you in actually building the craft, and will you be able to meet your scheduled flight date?
Well, actually, I don't have any scheduled flight date. At this point, I've done a very thorough technical analysis, about 100 pages, which has satisfied me that we have here a practical, within classical mechanics, practical craft. At this point, nothing has been done. I have a scale model built, which is about 5 feet in diameter, and I have the mathematical model from the technical study I did, but that's where it is. That's where it is. Essentially, I'm waiting for the aeronautical community to catch on to the fact that this is a better way to go than any of the other approaches that have been proposed I'm aware of. Simply because it's bigger, it's safer, and it's cheaper to go into space this way than with any of the other things I'm aware of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
I think we can sell tickets for $1,000 a ride and make plenty of money, according to my calculations. You can do a ride in my craft to suborbital altitude, 63 miles and back. Would take about an hour, and we ride. Don't have much space for people left. There's too much engine space required. But at 6 per day and say 12 rides per day, 6 per ride and 12 rides per day, we're going to make enough money that it would be a very significant. It would be a very significant payback at $1,000 a head. I understand Bert Rattan's craft he's developing for space tourism for the public at $100,000 a head. If we can beat that by 100 times, great. If it's a little bit more expensive than that, we're still. I think the price of going to space should be far less than $100,000 a head.
sure. Well, in terms of raising funds for it, have you ever thought about kind of doing the nonprofit approach? Because that seems to be working for the Da Vinci Project. And I believe they're an Ontario-based company.
With whom? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. One of the other X Prize competitors, the Da Vinci Project, has put together a nonprofit approach to raising the funds.
That might be a way to go. I have thought of such things. I haven't done anything about it yet, but certainly that would be not a bad idea.
Sure. Well, and then, the other approach is finding kind of the Paul Allens of the world with an interest in getting into space and seeing these technologies move forward. And
Well, that example, for example, would be a great thing should it happen. And as I say, I'm sitting back here and waiting for developments. That would be nice, very nice. I presume that there are people out there like Alan who really believe in space and really want to see us go, and that they're aware and interested in contributing to getting the public to be aware about space. I believe that space technology is the future of the human race, and therefore we need to get people much more excited and acclimatized to going to space and doing the things that one does when one goes into space.
absolutely. Now, with your X Prize craft, and again, just, it was designed for a contest that really just goes up to the edge of space and comes back. But, given further advancements and, given a few years additional design time, is this the kind of craft that could someday reach the moon?
Well, yes, with a new kind of propulsion, with a free energy or zero gravity or electrogravitics, yes, with this new technology that's coming up over the horizon, definitely fitting this same craft with the new technology can go to the moon or Mars or anywhere else just about you want to go. It's it's an ideal shape both for an interplanetary, interstellar craft as well as an earthbound atmospheric craft. The circular planform shape is ideal for all of these purposes, according to my technology and according to my research. Therefore, such a craft as I'm proposing for suborbital flight could definitely next be designed for orbital flight and then fitted with new engines, with the electrogravitic type engines, to go to the moon or Mars or anywhere else. Essentially, it's a prototype for a new kind of a aerospace craft.
Absolutely. Well, and the circular planform also gives it additional structural stability, and it's a popular design for electrogravitic concepts. The Searle effect IGV vehicle looked a lot like a quote unquote UFO design. So
yes, it did.
So yeah, this is definitely a design that keeps popping back up. And I think
yes,
in part, a lot of the electrogravitic designs that we've seen actually use rotational components. Again, the Searle effect used a rotating ring bearing system, for lack of a better description. So, definitely the circular planform, I think, is on its way in, as being kind of a new approach.
Yes, it is. I believe this is the future of aerospace engineering. And the sooner we get there, the better, because the Earth our planet has a lot of grave problems that can be solved by advanced astronautics. There are four or five major problems which I'm aware of, that each of which can be attacked by advanced astronautics. One, for example, is Dr. Violet superwave. It's evidently every galaxy in the universe has a core, as ours does. It's in the constellation of Sagittarius, and that core periodically explodes because, according to Violet, the Big Bang theory is wrong. That the tired light theory is the correct one, and it turns out, according to him, there is a spontaneous creation of matter. The more matter that's around, the more likely is that there will be creation of new matter, and of course, our galactic center being the most dense matter in this galaxy, it creates a lot of new matter, and it has to get rid of it. So it explodes in what he calls a superwave periodically every perhaps 27,000 years.
I've actually
the superwave has terrible effects on Earth. It wipes out a lot of the life on the surface.
I've heard 4 or 5 different approaches to a similar idea. One was also being that because the stars are packed so closely in our galactic center, that if one of them goes supernova, it can literally take the other stars around it supernova as well. So it's a popular idea in science.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, he's the greatest scientist, I think, of the century. He's done a tremendous amount of beautiful work. He has written 4 major monumental books on the whole subject. And I would say that that's one of the problems that's facing humanity. Another, of course, is asteroids. We really don't know when an asteroid might have a deadly effect in impacting Earth. We don't know where all these things are, how fast they're going, and what trajectories they're on. Should one be seen to be approaching with an earlier invention of mine, which I call, it's an optical invention, which is capable of concentrating solar energy by a new kind of optics to a pinpoint of multi-terawatt power, we can actually turn an approaching asteroid into a rocket and send it off on a new course. You can actually heat up a point on the surface so greatly that it explodes and acts like a rocket. That's another problem that humanity is facing. Another, of course, is the so-called Planet X. Well, Planet X could actually exist. There could be a very large object, maybe even the size of Jupiter, which is approaching, say, from the southern hemisphere. Very few telescopes, major telescopes in the southern hemisphere. It could be coming on a highly elliptical course and be